What it is, y'all? It is your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back at you today with more Danmachi. And if you guys are enjoying the videos I'm bringing to you, make sure you're hitting that old thumbs up button. I've got to restore stamina here. And we're going to talk today about assist skills. Now, before we get into assist skills, I guess we should do a quick 101, because the number one question that I got, well, I won't say the number one question I got. I did get an interesting question the other night that warrants a rather detailed response. The question was, if you stack we'll do it this way. The Bunny Goddess Hestia on the Glitter Goddess Hestia, do you get both of the assist skills? And the answer is, well, I'll show you the answer, but let's talk about assist skills in a kind of 101 sense, and then get to the answer on that. So, Glitter Goddess Hestia does allies 14% HP regen. Bunny Goddess Hestia also does 14% HP regen to all allies. Now, when it comes to assist skills, and adventure skills for that matter, which we will touch on a little bit, they generally do not stack. Now, what's interesting with Bunny Goddess Hestia and Glitter Goddess Hestia, they're both free-to-play units. They both come out of the casino. Now, those of you that are... Unfortunately, those of you that are on the easy side of the game, you're not going to be able to benefit from the casino, but I'm going to be real, the casino's kind of a dead issue anyway. It never became what it was supposed to be, and these units are nowhere near as good as they once were in this game. So when it comes to Glitter Goddess Hestia and Bunny Goddess Hestia, both of them existing in the same place, both of them obtainable at the same time, kind of would insinuate to you, well, maybe they stack, but they don't. And I'll show you here in a minute what I'm talking about, but they absolutely do not stack. Now, what I am going to do here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull her Hime up in the front. I want to talk for just a brief moment about, basically, just about assists and, or I say, the skills in general, okay? There are 4 types of skills in this game. There are allies, as we just saw. There's self. Then there is foes, plural, and then there's foe, singular. Now, an example of an allies, well, we'll just do... Artemis really does both allies and self. So we'll talk about that. When we go in here, she does self, strength and magic resist plus 20%. So whoever she's tied to is going to get a strength and a magic resist bonus of 20%. You'll be able to see it when we go into the details of that unit. That does not affect anybody else. It only affects the adventurer that she's tied to. All other allies will get strength plus 15%. Now it says effect does not apply to self. But that is, and that's another reason this is kind of a warranted video nowadays, because that notation was never there. That notation was added when they added the magic resist. It used to just say self strength 20%, allies strength 15%. Because the way that assist skills work in this game, in fact all skills, the ally strength 15% would then naturally be applied to the unit, but because they already have a stronger buff, it's not going to be applied. So, case in point, she's tied to Goblin Slayer. Goblin Slayer, actually she's tied to Crosso, I think, or Argonaut, whoever she's tied to. She is, I get my team mixed up here. She's going to give that unit a 20% strength and magic resist 20% buff. All other allies are going to get a strength 15% buff. Now, if for whatever reason I put another strength 20% on another unit, that unit that does strength 20% and that's it, that unit would then receive magic resist 20%, but it would not receive the strength 15% because it is a higher stat. I hope that makes sense. So these will not stack. It's not like your unit's going to get 35% because strength 20% plus 15%. No, and it's not like an external unit's going to get that. Assist skills and adventure skills do not stack. Okay? There's an exception to that, And I'll get to it at the end of the video. But just know that skills do not stack. Okay? Now, that's strength. I'm sorry, that's self, and that's allies. Okay? Very different units. Self would obviously be, like I said, Argonaut, and allies would be Haruhime, Krazo, and Tione. Now, let's talk about Orna. Okay? Orna does foes plural, physical resist and magic resist minus 15%. She also does a counter and guard rate to herself. That means that she's going to add counter rate and guard rate to the unit she's tied to, in this case Haruhime, because, well, Haruhime needs a counter rate for real. Well, she doesn't need it, but she's very, very useful for her. If I had another counter rate increase, and it was like 20%, this would override that. If it was 40%, it would override this. Very straightforward. I hope that horse has been beaten to death, because I don't want to beat it any further. It just, they do not stack. They simply do not. Okay? Foes plural, physical resist and magic resist minus 15%. Same thing if you have another physical and magic resist unit and you're throwing out 10%, it's not going to stack. Your foe is only going to receive the 15% from the best debuff. Okay? Now, foe singular. I cannot think off the top of my head any unit that has a foe singular skill, because I believe these are actually even applied before the attack, and being a foe singular would kind of insinuate that an attack is happening. But if I go over here to Mikasa, actually, everyone on this team has one, and go to status, you'll see every I know she's an adventurer. That's kind of the point I'm getting to. Every single one of her, well, aside from her self buffs, every single one of her attack buffs or debuffs is, or well, even buffs to herself, is a foe singular attack. The effects only affect the unit that is being attacked. Now, I know she does self buffs. It's kind of a bad example, but it is still an example. I do not believe, and again, I could be wrong here, but I do not believe that we have any assists that do foe singular. Foe singular effects. So let me go ahead and, because Orna is going to affect the foes with a physical and magic resist, let's go ahead and jump into the event here and just take a look very specifically at what happens at the start of a turn. Okay? So our foe is immediately down. It says magic resist and physical resist is down. So you see those numbers are up there. We didn't have to attack, and that's kind of why I don't believe there's an assist that does foe singular. I think all the assists are foes plural. Okay? Also worth noting, if I go in here, HP regen 14%, strength 15%. You will notice that at no point in time do we have HP regen doubled up. So the answer is no. Even though Glitter Goddess Hestia and Bunny Goddess Hestia come from the same place, they do not stack. They simply don't. Also notice the self-strength 20% is there. We are not getting the strength 15%. Though the magic resist is there because, well, it is there. It comes from that same buff. So I hope this is making sense. I hope what this was displaying is kind of imminent and showing up there. Okay, guard rate 30%, counter rate 30%, and it's not on anyone else because it's a self buff. So that is pretty much, for lack of getting into the nitty gritty, that is assist skills. So the answer is Bunny Goddess Hestia and Glitter Goddess Hestia, even though they come from the same place, even though it's kind of pointless to own them both, aside from obviously the Iris benefits therein, I guess you could use one as a sack unit, but it's still kind of weird. We could take a quick moment to talk about sack units. If you're not familiar with what that is, that's when we use the swap anklet, and a unit comes in, applies the buff, and then leaves. Case in point, Artemis with her 15% her 15% strength buff, if this Eyes came in here, with Artemis now out of play, Argonaut out of play, they sack. Eyes moves in. Eyes is not getting that strength buff. Eyes will not get that strength buff. That buff is only for units in play. If I go down here and I just grab the magic swap anklet, I know it's not the right thing for him, but whatever. Let's go ahead and just test it out for ourselves. And I can show you live what would happen. Okay, we're going to do just basic attacks here. That shouldn't kill him. And now we have Eyes in here. Now Eyes is actually okay. So the answer is Eyes is not getting that 14% HP regen, even though they're still in play. That said, Eyes, and it is worth noting here, the unit that was on Eyes that does all those buffs and debuffs, those are now being applied, buffs in this case, those are now being applied to all the units in play. Okay? So that's why when you do sack units, typically you do debuffs and then let those units roll out. Because as a unit rolls in, it'll then apply to everybody. But whoever was in play before does not receive those buffs. So, once again, that 14% HP regen that everybody got before, not applied here. Be aware of that. Be very aware of that. And I thought that's the way it worked, but I wanted to just obviously run it to verify. Okay? Now, I did say there was an exception to this rule, and there is, and I'll showcase that right now as soon as... Come on, y'all. Just finish her up. There you go. So as we go in here, I'm going to go ahead and turn off auto battle because this will screw me over. Note that Tione has this SA gauge charge 100%. That is actually coming from the assist that's tied to her. Okay? I'm going to give her an extra SA gauge charge 100% as her adventurer skill, and I'm going to give everybody else a 33%. Let's go ahead and look at what this does. Okay? Boom. Alright. So, if I go in here to her stats, you'll notice that she has 100% SA gauge charge. 100% SA gauge charge there. And 100% SA gauge charge here. That is the only exception to the rule. And it's not really an exception, but I gotta talk about it. Assist skills and adventure skills, they work independently. So just because they're literally the exact same skill, they still work together because assist skills do not nullify adventure skills. And so on and so forth. Also worth noting, Line did a 33%. Notice Line has the 33%. Kraza was the 33%. And Haruhime has the 33%. Tione is the only one with the 100% because hers is a self buff. And the 33% is allies. Tione having the better buff, the 100% buff, is just going to override the 33%. It's never going to apply to her. So I hope that makes a lot of sense. Adventure skills and assist skills will not override one another. However, when it comes to adventure skills and assist skills, the better one of either class is going to override that. So I hope this was found handy, because this is something that is a little confusing when you're first getting into the game. And even I was a little confused, if I'm honest, about how units came in and whether they affected it. So that tells you right there what you need to be doing with your adventures and your assists. I hope this video was helpful. Let me know if it was by hitting that old thumbs up button and commenting something in the comment section down below. For now, that's going to be the video. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll be back at you guys with more Danmachi. We should have some news today, so hopefully we'll be talking about that shortly.